Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to our channel. I'm here today to have a conversation that might be uncomfortable, but it's one that could change your entire approach to relationships moving forward. If you're a woman over 50 or approaching that milestone, I want you to lean in close because what I'm about to share with you could save you months or even years of heartache, confusion, and wasted emotional energy. I've been working with women in relationships for over 2 decades now, and there's one pattern I see repeatedly that breaks my heart every single time. It's intelligent, successful, beautiful women who've raised families, built careers, overcome challenges, falling for the same lie over and over again. And here's what makes it even more frustrating. It's not that these women are naive or lacking in life experience. Quite the opposite. These are women who can spot a bad business deal from a mile away, who can read people like books in every other area of their lives, but when it comes to this one specific lie, they become vulnerable in ways they never expected. Today we're going to expose this lie completely. We're going to understand why it's so effective, why mature women are particularly susceptible to it, and most importantly, we're going to arm you with the knowledge and tools you need to never fall for it again. But before we dive in, I need you to do something for me. I need you to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because the content we share on this channel is designed specifically for women who are ready to step into their power and demand the respect they deserve in relationships. And if that sounds like you, then this community is exactly where you belong. Now, let's get into it. So what is this lie that I keep referring to? It's this. I'm just not ready for anything serious right now, but I really care about you and want to keep seeing where this goes. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, of course everyone knows that line, hear me out. Because the problem isn't that women don't recognize this as potentially problematic. The problem is how this lie has evolved and adapted specifically to target mature women's unique vulnerabilities and life circumstances. You see, when a 25-year-old woman hears this line, she might think, okay, he's young, he's figuring things out, maybe he just needs time. But when a 55-year-old woman hears it, her brain starts making completely different calculations. She thinks, well, he's been married before, he knows what commitment looks like, he's financially stable, his kids are grown, he's not trying to establish his career. So maybe he really does just need to take things slow because he's been hurt before. And that, my friends, is where the trap is set. Let me paint you a picture that might feel all too familiar. You meet someone, maybe through online dating, maybe through friends, maybe at a social event. He's age appropriate, he seems emotionally available, he's attentive and charming. You have great conversations, genuine chemistry, and for the first time in maybe years, you feel that flutter of excitement about someone new. The first few dates go beautifully. He's interested in your life. He asks about your children, your career, your dreams. He shares stories about his past, talks about lessons he's learned, maybe even mentions how he's ready for something real in general terms. Then, a few weeks or months in, when you're naturally starting to wonder where this is heading, he drops the line. But here's how it sounds when it's specifically tailored for mature women. Listen, I really care about you. You're an incredible woman, and I can see this becoming something beautiful. But I need to be honest. After my divorce, I promised myself I'd never rush into anything again. I've learned that the best relationships are built slowly, with trust and patience. I don't want to mess this up by putting pressure on us. Can we just see where this naturally goes? Sounds reasonable, right? Even mature, even wise. And that's exactly why it works so effectively on women who have life experience. Because wrapped up in this lie are several truths that make it incredibly difficult to dismiss. First, it's true that good relationships often develop slowly. Second, it's true that rushing can sometimes create problems. Third, it's true that many people have learned important lessons from past relationships. And fourth, it's true that trust and patience are valuable in building something lasting. But here's what he's not telling you. He's not actually building anything with you. He's maintaining the status quo indefinitely because it serves his needs perfectly. Why mature women are particularly vulnerable now. I want to be very clear about something. Falling for this lie doesn't make you naive, desperate, or lacking in judgment. In fact, mature women are targeted with this specific deception precisely because they possess qualities that make them both desirable partners and, unfortunately, ideal victims for this type of emotional manipulation. Let me explain what I mean by walking through the unique circumstances that many women over 50 find themselves in, and how these circumstances create the perfect storm for this lie to take. Hold life experience as a double-edged sword first. Let's talk about your life experience. By the time you reach your 50s, 60s, or beyond, you've likely been through significant relationships. Maybe you were married for 20 or 30 years. Maybe you went through a difficult divorce. Maybe you lost a spouse. These experiences have taught you valuable lessons about love, commitment, and partnership. But here's the paradox. That same experience that makes you wise in so many ways also makes you more willing to be patient in ways that don't serve you. When a 30-year-old woman encounters someone who won't commit, she often thinks, I don't have time for this, I want marriage and children. But when a 55-year-old woman encounters the same situation, she often thinks, I understand that life is complicated. I know that good things take time. I can be patient because I've learned that rushing doesn't work. The problem is that patience, which is indeed a virtue in many relationship contexts, becomes a tool for manipulation when the other person has no intention of ever moving forward. The biological clock shift. Here's another factor that plays into this dynamic. For women in their childbearing years, there's often an underlying urgency around commitment that stems from biological realities. The ticking of the biological clock creates a natural deadline that forces clarity in relationships. But for mature women, that pressure is gone. And while this freedom should be liberating, and in many ways it is, it also removes one of the natural forcing functions that prevents relationships from languishing in indefinite limbo. Without that sense of urgency, it becomes much easier to accept, let's just see where this goes, as a reasonable approach, even when months turn into years without any real progression. The scarcity mindset. I'm going to address something that might be painful to hear, but it's crucial that we talk about it honestly. Many mature women operate from what psychologists call a scarcity mindset when it comes to dating and relationships. This isn't because there's actually a scarcity of good men who would be thrilled to be with them. It's because society has conditioned women to believe that their value in the romantic marketplace decreases with age, while men's increases or stays stable. This conditioning creates a psychological environment where a woman might think, if I don't accept his timeline and his terms, I might not get another opportunity like this. Men my age want younger women. The dating pool is small. I should be grateful that someone wants to spend time with me at all. And that mindset, that feeling of I should be grateful, is exactly what allows this lie to take root and flourish. The I can fix this mentality. Mature women have often spent decades in caretaking roles, raising children, managing households, supporting spouses through career challenges, caring for aging parents. This caregiving experience creates a deep sense of competence when it comes to nurturing and supporting others through difficult times. When a man presents his reluctance to commit as a wound that needs healing, I'm just scared of being hurt. Again, it activates every nurturing instinct that has been reinforced over decades. The woman thinks, I can help him work through this. With enough love, patience, and understanding, he'll realize that I'm not going to hurt him like whoever came before. I can be the one who helps him heal and trust again. But here's the truth. If a man is genuinely working through commitment issues, he'll be actively doing the work, Therapy, self-reflection, having honest conversations about timelines and goals. If he's just using past hurt as an excuse to avoid commitment while keeping you available, you'll see a pattern of words without corresponding action. Real stories. I want to share 3 real stories from women who've experienced this deception firsthand. I've changed names and identifying details to protect their privacy, but these are real experiences from real women who've reached out to me over the years. Margaret's story. Margaret was 58 when she met David at her book club. She'd been divorced for 5 years and had spent that time focusing on her career and her adult children. David was 61, divorced, with grown kids of his own. He was articulate, well-read, and seemed to genuinely enjoy her company. They began dating, and for the first few months everything felt natural and progressing well. David would talk about future plans, not necessarily about their relationship, but about trips he wanted to take, books he wanted to read, experiences he wanted to have. Margaret naturally began to see herself in those future scenarios. When Margaret brought up the topic of where their relationship was heading after about 4 months of dating, David's response was textbook. "Margaret, you're an amazing woman, and I feel so lucky to have met you. But I need to be honest. My divorce really did a number on me, and I've promised myself I won't make any big relationship decisions until I've had at least a year to really process everything. I care about you too much to rush this and potentially mess it up." Margaret found this reasonable. She respected his self-awareness and his desire to be thoughtful, so she decided to be patient and supportive while he worked through his healing process. But here's what happened over the next year and a half. Nothing changed. David continued to enjoy all the benefits of a committed relationship with Margaret: regular dates, emotional support, physical intimacy, companionship for social events. But every time she brought up the future, he had a new reason why he wasn't quite ready yet. First, it was that he was still processing his divorce. Then it was that his daughter was going through a difficult time and he needed to focus on being available for her. Then it was work stress. Then it was concerns about his elderly mother. There was always something. Meanwhile, Margaret's life was essentially on hold. She turned down social invitations when David was available. She didn't pursue new friendships or hobbies because her free time was spent with him. She even passed up a job opportunity that would have required relocation because she didn't want to disrupt their developing relationship. It wasn't until Margaret discovered that David was still actively maintaining a dating profile and meeting other women that she realized the truth. He was never working toward commitment with her. He was actively avoiding it while maintaining all the benefits of her devotion. Linda's story has a different twist, but the same devastating core. Linda was 52 when she met Robert at a wine tasting event. Robert was 55, a successful attorney who'd been divorced for 3 years. Unlike David, Robert was completely upfront about his dating life. "Linda, I want to be completely honest with you," he said after their 3rd date. "I'm at a place in my life where I'm really enjoying getting to know different people and exploring what's out there. I think you're fantastic, and I'd love to keep seeing you, but I want to be clear that I'm not looking to be exclusive with anyone right now. I hope that's something you can be okay with, because I really do enjoy your company." Now, Linda had never been in an open or non-exclusive dating situation before. In her 20-year marriage, exclusivity and commitment had gone hand in hand. But she was trying to be open-minded about different relationship styles, and Robert seemed so honest and upfront that she appreciated his transparency. "I can try that," she said, "as long as we're both being honest about where we are." What Linda didn't anticipate was how this arrangement would affect her emotionally over time. While Robert was indeed honest about not being exclusive, he was also incredibly attentive and caring when they were together. He remembered details about her life, supported her through a difficult time with her teenage son, and made her feel special and valued. The problem was that Linda began to hope that his feelings would naturally evolve into wanting exclusivity with her. She thought that if she could just be patient enough, understanding enough, supportive enough, he would eventually realize that what they had was special and worth committing to fully. She spent 2 years in this dynamic, becoming increasingly attached while he remained consistently detached. The final straw came when Robert introduced her to another woman he was seeing at a mutual friend's party. The casual way he handled the introduction, as if Linda was just a friend, made her realize that she had been waiting for something that was never going to happen. Patricia's story is particularly heartbreaking because it shows how this lie can persist even in long-term relationships. Patricia, now 63, spent 7 years with a man who maintained that he wasn't ready for marriage, but loved her and wanted to be with her. Every year there was a reason, Patricia told me. First, he said he wanted to pay off his credit card debt before getting engaged. Then he said he wanted his son to graduate college. Then he said he wanted to wait until his elderly father passed away because a wedding would be too stressful for the family. There was always something. Patricia supported him through all of these challenges. She helped him budget to pay off debt. She was there for his family during difficult times. She attended graduations, funerals, and family gatherings as his devoted partner. But when his father did pass away, and Patricia gently brought up their future again, his response was, "I think I need some time to grieve and focus on myself. This isn't the right time to be making big life decisions." That's when Patricia realized that there would never be a right time from his perspective. He had successfully created a marriage-like relationship without any of the actual commitment or security that marriage provides. He got all the benefits of her partnership without any of the vulnerability that comes with making a formal public commitment. These 3 stories illustrate perfectly how this lie works in different forms. It sounds reasonable. It appeals to mature wisdom about taking relationships slowly, and it creates just enough hope to keep someone invested while never actually delivering on that hope. Red flags. You must never ignore. Now that we understand the psychology behind this deception, let's talk about the specific red flags you need to watch for. These are the warning signs that someone is using the "not ready for something serious" line as a manipulation tactic rather than a genuine statement about their emotional availability. Number 1. The timeline keeps moving. A genuine person who needs time will have some sense of what they need to work through and approximately how long that might take. They might say, "I want to give myself 6 months to work through some issues in therapy before I'm ready for a serious relationship." The red flag is when the timeline keeps extending without clear progress markers. First he needs 6 months, then when 6 months arrives, he needs another 6 months. Then it becomes, "I don't want to put pressure on this by having artificial timelines." If someone keeps moving the goalposts every time you approach them, that's not someone working toward readiness. That's someone avoiding commitment indefinitely. A genuine person will show you concrete steps they're taking and measurable progress. Number 2. Actions don't match words. Pay attention to the disconnect between what he says and what he does. A man who genuinely isn't ready for something serious would typically maintain some emotional distance and boundaries to protect both of you from getting too invested in something he's uncertain about. But if he's acting like a committed partner in most ways, spending multiple nights a week together, meeting each other's families, making plans months in advance, sharing deeply personal information, being your +1 to events, having you meet his children, while maintaining that he's not ready for anything serious, that's a major red flag. His behavior is essentially saying, "I want all the benefits of a committed relationship without any of the accountability or vulnerability that comes with actual commitment." Number 3. He's comfortable with your investment. A person with good intentions, who genuinely isn't ready for commitment, would be concerned about you investing too much in someone who can't reciprocate that level of commitment. They would encourage you to keep your options open, maintain your independence, and not put your life on hold for them. If he's comfortable with you turning down other opportunities, declining social invitations to be available for him, cancelling plans with friends, when he's free or otherwise organizing your life around someone who won't commit to you, that's a red flag. He might even expect you to be available whenever he wants to see you, but gets upset if you're not immediately available. Good people don't want others to sacrifice for them when they can't offer the same level of commitment in return. They feel guilty about taking more than they can give. Number 4, he avoids relationship conversations. Someone who is genuinely working toward being ready for commitment will be willing to have regular conversations about where things stand and how you're both feeling about the pace of the relationship. They'll check in with you about your comfort level and be transparent about their progress. If every time you try to have a conversation about your relationship status or future plans, he changes the subject, gets defensive, accuses you of being pushy, or makes you feel bad for bringing it up, that's a major red flag. He might say things like, "Why do we need to label this?" Or, "Can't we just enjoy what we have?" Or, "You're putting pressure on me." The truth is, having conversations about where a relationship is heading is completely normal and healthy. If someone makes you feel like you're being unreasonable for wanting clarity, that's manipulation. Number 5, the reason keeps changing. Listen carefully to his explanations for why he's not ready. If the reasons keep shifting and evolving, that's a sign that these aren't genuine obstacles, but rather excuses that he's making up as he goes along. First, it's because he's still processing his divorce. Then it's because of work stress. Then it's because of family obligations. His daughter needs him. His elderly mother is having health issues. Then it's because he wants to focus on his health and fitness. Then it's financial concerns. There's always something new. What you'll notice is that as soon as one issue gets resolved, another one magically appears to take its place. A genuine person working through real issues will have consistency in their reasoning and will show you the work they're doing to address their concerns. Number 6, he's still shopping around. If someone tells you they're not ready for something serious, but they're still actively dating other people or maintaining dating profiles, what they're really saying is they're not ready for something serious with you specifically, but they're keeping their options open in case someone better comes along. You might discover his dating profiles are still active, or friends might mention seeing him out with other women. When confronted, he'll remind you that he told you he wasn't ready for exclusivity. Technically true, but emotionally manipulative. A person who genuinely needs time to work on themselves would typically take a break from dating altogether, not just avoid committing to any one person while continuing to explore other options. Number 7, future plans don't include you. Listen carefully to how he talks about his future plans. Does he naturally include you in discussions about upcoming events, vacations, or goals? Or does he carefully speak only about his own plans and intentions? Someone who sees you as a potential partner, even if they're not ready to commit yet, will naturally start including you in their thinking about the future. They might say things like, "I'm thinking about planning a trip this summer. Would you be interested?" Or, "My company party is in 3 months. I'd love to have you come with me." Someone who's avoiding commitment will be very careful to speak only about their own future plans. He'll talk about, "I'm planning to," or "I want to," but never "we" or "us." When you suggest doing something together in the future, he'll deflect or give vague responses. Number 8, he uses your maturity against you. This is a particularly insidious manipulation tactic. He'll praise you for being so understanding and so mature about his need to take things slow. He'll contrast you favorably with younger women who are needy or dramatic or impatient or don't understand how real relationships work. He might say things like, "I love how you get it. You understand that good things take time," or "You're so different from other women I've dated who were always pressuring me for more." While these compliments might feel good in the moment, what he's actually doing is using your desire to be seen as mature and reasonable to manipulate you into accepting less than you deserve. He's essentially training you to pride yourself on having low expectations. Number 9. The benefits are one-sided. Look honestly at what each of you is getting out of this relationship. Make an actual list if you need to. If you're providing emotional support, companionship, physical intimacy, home-cooked meals, help with his problems, +1 services for events, and possibly domestic or financial benefits, while he's providing only his presence and attention when it's convenient for him. That's not a relationship. That's a service you're providing. You might find yourself doing girlfriend duties, supporting him through difficult times, celebrating his successes, being there when he needs you, while getting none of the girlfriend. Benefits like security, commitment, priority in his life, or consideration for your needs. A healthy relationship, even in early stages, should feel reciprocal. Both people should be investing, both should be benefiting, and both should be working to make the other person happy. Number 10. Your gut keeps telling you something's wrong finally, and perhaps most importantly, trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Mature women often have very well-developed intuition from years of life experience, but they may dismiss their gut feelings in favor of logical explanations that sound reasonable. If you find yourself constantly feeling anxious about where you stand, if you're afraid to bring up your needs or concerns because you don't want to rock the boat, if you feel like you're walking on eggshells to avoid being seen as pushy, if you're making excuses for his behavior to your friends, or if you're second-guessing your own reasonable expectations, listen to those feelings. Your intuition is picking up on inconsistencies and red flags that your logical mind might be explaining away. Trust that inner voice. It's trying to protect you. Protection strategies. Now that we've identified the problem and the red flags, let's talk about how to protect yourself. The goal isn't to become cynical or closed off to love. It's to become discerning and empowered in your approach to relationships. Strategy. 1. Define your own timeline. Instead of waiting for someone else to decide when they're ready for something more serious, decide for yourself how long you're willing to wait and under what conditions. This is about taking back your power and not leaving your romantic future in someone else's hands. For example, you might decide that you're comfortable with a getting to know each other phase for 3 months, but after that point, you need to see clear movement toward greater commitment and exclusivity. Or you might decide that you're willing to give someone 6 months to work through specific issues, but only if they're actively working on those issues with concrete steps. The key is to be specific about what you need to see. Don't just say, "I need progress." Define what progress looks like. Does it mean introducing you to his family, making plans more than a few weeks in advance, having the exclusivity conversation, discussing future goals together? Be clear about your benchmarks. Communicate this timeline clearly and kindly. I really enjoy spending time with you, and I can understand wanting to take things at a comfortable pace. I'm happy to give this 3 months to develop naturally, and then I'd like to have a conversation about what we both want moving forward. I'm looking for someone who's excited about building a committed relationship, and I want to make sure we're on the same page. Most importantly, stick to your timeline. Write it down if you need to. Don't let yourself get talked into extending it indefinitely. Just a little longer. Remember Margaret's story. Those goalposts will keep moving if you let them. Strategy. 2. Watch actions, not words. This is absolutely crucial. Make your decisions based on what someone does, not what they say. Words are easy. Anyone can say anything. Actions require genuine investment, intention, and follow-through. create a mental checklist of commitment-oriented behaviors and honestly assess whether you're seeing them. Is he introducing you to his friends and family? Is he making plans with you weeks or months in advance? Is he including you in decisions that affect both of you, like social events, weekend plans, or even small things like what movie to watch? Is he having serious conversations about compatibility and future goals? Does he ask about your thoughts on important topics like family, money, lifestyle preferences? Does he share his own thoughts and feelings openly? Is he curious about your past, your dreams, your concerns? Or is he just saying nice things while keeping you at arm's length in all the ways that actually matter? Does he keep conversations surface level? Does he avoid making plans too far in advance? Does he compartmentalize his life so you only see certain parts of it? Pay attention to how he handles conflicts or disagreements. Does he work through them with you, or does he withdraw and avoid difficult conversations? A man who's building toward commitment will want to learn how to navigate challenges with you. Also watch his consistency. Does he follow through on small promises and commitments? If he can't follow through on saying he'll call at a certain time, or meet you when he says he will, how can you trust him to follow through on bigger commitments? Strategy number 3, maintain your independence. This is crucial and often the hardest strategy for women to implement because it feels counterintuitive. We're often taught that love means prioritizing the other person and being available for them. But maintaining your independence actually protects you and helps you see the relationship more clearly. Don't organize your life around someone who won't commit to you. This means continuing to make plans with friends, pursuing your hobbies and interests, and staying open to new opportunities, both romantic and otherwise. If your friends invite you to dinner, and he might be free that night, go to dinner with your friends. Don't keep your schedule open just in case he wants to see you. Keep pursuing your own goals and interests. If you were taking art classes before, you met him, keep taking art classes. If you were thinking about a career change, keep exploring that. If you had travel plans, don't put them on hold for someone who won't commit to traveling with you. Stay socially active and maintain your friendships. Don't become the woman who disappears from her friend group because she's hoping a non-committal man will finally decide he wants her. Your friends are your support system, and you need them now more than ever. If someone truly wants to be with you, your independence won't threaten them. It will attract them. A confident, fulfilled woman with her own life is appealing to men who are genuinely ready for partnership. If someone is just using you for convenience, your independence will reveal that dynamic clearly because he'll start complaining that you're not available enough or that you're not prioritizing him. Strategy number 4. Communicate your needs. Directly, don't hint, hope, or assume that someone will figure out what you want. Don't drop subtle hints about commitment and hope he picks up on them. Don't wait for him to bring up the relationship conversation. Be direct about your needs and expectations from early on. This doesn't mean being demanding or aggressive. It means being clear and honest. Practice saying things like, "I've really enjoyed getting to know you over these past few months, but I want to be clear about what I'm looking for. I'm interested in finding a committed, exclusive relationship with someone who's ready for that level of partnership. I'm not interested in casual dating or keeping things indefinite. If that's not where you are or where you see yourself heading with me, I understand, but I need to know so I can make decisions about how to invest my time and energy." If he gives you vague responses, ask for specifics. If he says, "I just need more time," ask how much time and to work through what specifically. If he says, "I care about you, but I'm not ready for labels," ask, what would need to change for you to be ready, and when do you think that might happen? Don't accept non-answers. If someone can't give you a straight answer about their intentions after you've been dating for several months, that is your answer. Someone who wants to be with you will be excited to talk about it, not evasive. Also, don't be afraid to state your boundaries clearly. I'm not comfortable continuing to be physically intimate with someone who's dating other people. Or, I don't want to attend family events or social functions as your date if you're not ready to define our relationship, are perfectly reasonable. Boundaries. Strategy number 5. Don't try to convince or convert. This is perhaps the most important strategy of all. If someone tells you they're not ready for commitment, believe them the first time. Don't try to prove your worth or convince them that you're different from whoever hurt them in the past. Don't try to show them how amazing a relationship with you could be if they just give it a chance. The right person for you will be excited about committing to you, not reluctant. You shouldn't have to sell someone on the idea of being with you. You shouldn't have to demonstrate your value or prove that you're worth choosing. When women try to convince or convert, they often end up doing what I call auditioning for the girlfriend role. They start doing more and more girlfriend-type things, cooking for him, being emotionally supportive during his difficult times, being available whenever he needs them, solving his problems, hoping that if they just show him how good they could be together, he'll want to commit. But this strategy backfires because it gives him all the benefits of having a committed partner without him having to commit. Why would he change a situation that's working perfectly for him? Instead, accept what he's telling you at face value. If he says he's not ready for commitment, say, "I understand, and I appreciate your honesty. Since I am looking for commitment, I think it's best if we part ways now before either of us gets more invested." Then follow through. This approach does two things. First, it protects you from wasting time on someone who's not available for what you want. Second, if he was just testing your boundaries or seeing how much he could get away with, it might shock him into realizing what he's about to lose. But don't do it as a manipulation tactic. Do it as genuine self-protection. Remember, you want someone who chooses you enthusiastically, not someone who has to be convinced or who settles for you because you wore them down. Beautiful souls, we've covered a lot of ground today, and I know some of it may have been difficult to hear. But I hope you're feeling empowered rather than discouraged, because that was the goal of our conversation. The lie we've discussed today, "I'm just not ready for anything serious right now," is so effective because it preys on the very qualities that make mature women wonderful partners. Your patience, your understanding, your willingness to support others through difficult times, and your capacity to see the bigger picture. But those same qualities that make you vulnerable to this manipulation are also the qualities that make you incredibly valuable in genuine relationships. The key is learning to share those gifts with people who deserve them and who can reciprocate them. Remember these key points as you move forward. First, trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Your intuition is one of your greatest assets. Don't override it in favor of logical explanations that don't actually make sense. Second, watch actions, not words. People can say anything, but their actions reveal their true intentions. Make your decisions based on what someone does, not what they promise to do. Third, maintain your standards and boundaries. You're not asking for too much when you want commitment, respect, and genuine partnership. These are reasonable expectations, not unrealistic demands. Fourth, remember your worth. You bring tremendous value to any relationship, and the right person will recognize and appreciate that value immediately. You don't need to convince someone to see your worth. You need to find someone who already sees it. And finally, stay open to love while protecting yourself from manipulation. These two things are not mutually exclusive. You can be discerning without being cynical, and you can have standards without being closed off. If you're currently in a situation where someone is stringing you along with promises of future commitment that never materialize, I encourage you to have that direct conversation we talked about. Set your timeline, communicate your needs clearly, and then follow through on your boundaries. If you're single and preparing to date, use this knowledge to help you navigate new relationships with confidence and clarity. Know what you want, communicate it directly, And don't be afraid to walk away from situations that don't serve you. Remember, you have so much to offer, and you deserve someone who recognizes that and treasures it. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with other women who might benefit from this message. We're building a community of empowered women who support each other in demanding the respect and love we deserve. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss our content designed specifically for amazing women like you, who are ready to step into your power and create the relationships you truly want. And remember, beautiful souls, your worth is not up for negotiation. You are enough, exactly as you are, right now. The right person will see that immediately and will feel honored to be chosen by you. Until next time, keep shining your light and demanding the love you deserve.